What's up, everybody, and welcome back for another review of Impact Wrestling on AXS TV. It's Najee here alongside of Miranda. Miranda, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for asking. We've made it to December. We are in the last leg of 2020. Hopefully, this is the last leg. If 2020 surprises me anymore, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can do it anymore. But we've made
Yeah.
it to December.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, but we have been having fun meeting up each and every Tuesday, giving our thoughts, reaction, and analysis of Impact Wrestling. And tonight's just another nice December 1st. We're 11 days away from final resolution, exclusively on Impact Plus, which by now, which I've been talking about over the last few weeks, is that now we're seeing that Impact are pushing more exclusive content and pay-per-views on their app. So definitely worth giving it a shot after the last pay-per-view. I definitely think it's worth the subscription. And now that we know this is going to be the last one of 2020, but also they announced that there's going to be another one before Hard to Kill. So definitely, like I said, they're definitely piling up on exclusive content for the app. But we're going to talk about Impact on AXS TV. We had a lot that went on tonight. Whether it's just the matches, whether it's just some of the revelations we kind of been talking about, a little bit of character change and maybe increase of intensity and all types of different things I thought was really interesting for tonight's episode. So I don't really know where I want to start, but I think I kind of want to jump to the main event with Willie Mack and Chris Bay, because here's the thing. We're both huge fans of the two of them.
Yes.
And Chris Bay has been having an amazing year. And Willie Mack has had an interesting year because we've seen him being used in main event pictures with the X Division. Then it kind of fizzled out a little bit. And we kind of was like, well, what's next for him? Seeing him in the main event, seeing him working in a good quality match. Yes. And what I mean by that is that, you know, Miranda, you say it all the time, he can work with anybody. But it's just a matter of where is the time being given. And you already know when you see Willie Mack and Chris Bay on paper, you're like, oh, this is going to be nuts. And indeed it was. So we got a very quality match out of the two of them, as we would expect. But what's interesting about this is that all of the other folks that's involved here, you have Moose involved. You have the Moose and Willie Mack thing going on. Then you have, like, you know, the Moose and Rich Swann thing.
Yep.
You have a whirlwind of the two most prestigious belts in Impact Wrestling, two top contenders, and so many possibilities. And it's just refreshing to see the faces who are involved in this. So, you know, first off, to kind of break this down, I'm happy to see Willie Mack back in the picture. Yes. I love the idea of Chris Bay being the Impact World Champion.
And that final picture at the end of tonight's episode really got people, I think, exactly that, thinking, I like that. I'm not mad at that. I am not mad at that scene at all. And I think this is just what the world title picture needed to just rejuvenate the scene, you know, to really give it some fresh faces, some credible contenders, some actual believable storylines, and I really like this intersection, and I was thrilled to see Willie Mack in this capacity. I haven't been the biggest fan of his matches with Moose, and this tonight felt like more to the Willie Mack that we know, bringing it into the ring, being able to show his personality and charisma, but that athleticism and style to the ring that matches up very well with Chris Bay's. You know, this was a really fun match, but there was some good story and intertwining of stories that happened at the end. And that made me actually excited for this world title picture for really the first time since Rich Swann has been champion.
Yeah. And like, I have to say, like, the presentation that we're kind of getting with Chris Bay as far as why he should be involved in the picture, I was a little like okay with, like, kind of gimmicky, kind of doesn't really. I think the work, and when I say the work, I mean like the work in the presentation and how it meshes with Rich Swann character didn't quickly invest me. Yeah. But like you said, in the ring, when they're doing the wrestles, that's all that matters. Yeah. And that's four superstars in the ring that we just do not know how this can go. And all I gotta say is, we don't, who knows? Because we're 11 days from final resolution, which is on the 12th. And I think the Super J Cup starts December 12th, but the same day. I'm not sure how it's going to work. Long story short is that if Chris Bay had an opportunity to carry the Impact World Heavyweight Championship to New Japan.
Oh man, that kind of crossover, it would really be unprecedented, one. But two, I mean, yeah, that's huge. I really like, I mean, we talked about the title pictures within Impact. Sometimes it can get very jumbled when you add multiple people to it. But I think in general, Impact overall has done a pretty solid job of doing it. We've seen this in the X division. They've been able to have literally a 6-way scramble with multiple competitors and make that run off well. Even earlier this year at Slammiversary, when you had that really that gauntlet style match for the world championship, that still made sense, even though we really didn't even know who was going to be the final competitor in the match. So I feel like that's one of Impact's strengths, is that they can play off multi-person matches very well. And I think that this is a great even segue for December. Book this match, whether it's a 4-way, however they want to do it, and or a 3-way if you want to leave Moose out kind of in the wings for now. But you can have a multi-person match, and I think this would be a great thing to carry into the new year before you really then establish maybe a new number one contender for Hard to Kill. But I absolutely agree, though, too, capitalizing on Spay now going into the Super J Cup soon, just having that crossover appeal and having Impact's name said in the same sentence as New Japan, that's a really big deal. And so I think it's very smart that when they're already leveraging talent in that way, but if there's a title to be shown on there, that could be one. So
easy promotion.
Lots of layering through this too, outside of just storyline. But like I said, I was actually really happy. I wasn't quite sure. Nothing. To be honest, not everything clicked until really that final moment when Chris Bay came and attacked Rich Swann. Then it felt like, oh, this could work, and I'm not mad at this. I like this.
That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. I was just kind of like, all right, man. Literally, I was like, oh, the main event. I was like, okay, well, this is going to be a good match that could be anywhere on the card, to be honest. But the main event usually has some type of ramifications of something bigger, and this is like, well, this is just going to be a good match. Until that last moment, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This gets really interesting now. I haven't even thought about the moving pieces here. So, and again, I maybe it's just me, but I'm not liking any of the four of them, anything that they're doing backstage. I'm not liking none of it right now. I'm not liking what Moose is doing on mic right now. I'm not liking what Rich Swann is doing. I'm not liking, the Rich Swann and the Rascals thing really like tossed me out of the window for a second. I was like, I don't know what's happening here. And then, Chris Bay, and I get that he's Ultimate Finesse, and I get he's trying to finesse his way into a match, but like, it just doesn't work with Rich Swann.
It's a little, exactly. It doesn't quite have the right feel, whether it's an actual contendership or is it just more cheesy. So I like that they brought it to the ring. That's where the story for me was told, and where I saw the pieces come together tonight. So that got me really, really excited. And again, too, this could be kind of a stopgap because we had some other shifting parts within the title picture, what we saw last week with Ken Shamrock being suspended. Scott D'Amore, laying down the law. Ken Shamrock being suspended, so Sami Callihan's kind of on his own now. And Alicia Edwards attacking Sami Callihan, saying that when Eddie Edwards comes back, because he was injured and was out this week, he's going to kick his ass, her words. So it does feel like ultimately we may see, one, it looks like we're going to have a return of Sami and Eddie, which I am not mad at. But
on any given day, give me that.
Give it, yes. Yes, sold. But at one point, it did lean towards, maybe one of them being in the title picture, and that still could be the case as we lead to Hard to Kill. So I do feel like there's a lot that could happen in Final Resolution, and they're building some of those blocks this week into that. But I think what we'll see in Final Resolution is definitely going to lead us into January with, like you mentioned, Genesis will be happening, and then Hard to Kill, which will be the first major pay-per-view of 2021. So, like you started off this week's show, there's definitely implications that have been made through this week's show with multiple stories and multiple wrestlers.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So where do we go next with tonight's show? What else kind of?
Well, we gotta do the big knockouts tag tournament match. You had Renee Michelle and Killer Kelly versus Jordynne Grace and Jazz. And this was part of the big reveal last week. Jordynne Grace revealing that her tag team partner for the tournament is Hall of Famer, world soon to be retired Jazz. And I thought, them coming to the ring and Jazz's performance in the ring, so many moments with the strikes that she made. You really see her striking more boxing background in this match. But I also have to say I was really impressed with Renee Michelle's performance. She looked a little bit more calculated, really leveraging the utilization of the ring, timing, and spots. I was very, very impressed with Renee Michelle in this and I was still a little sad. I wanted to see more Killer Kelly time, especially with Jazz in the ring. I thought that dynamic would have been completely brutal. But the surprise for me was that I really liked Renee Michelle's performance. And I think if, TNA or Impact is looking to add another woman to the division, I think they could have really have something with Renee Michelle.
Yeah, I'm hoping that everybody that appeared tonight is at some point in contract discussions. Renee Michelle, definitely hats off to her because she's had a slight climb up the hill on the road to recovery. So her being back, she absolutely looked good. Looked good in wrestling technique and just looked good in health. So good to see her back in the ring. And I think that Josh Matthews definitely put over Killer Kelly a lot and left Madison Rayne to handle Renee Michelle. And I think that I hope that the fans didn't feel like, well, this was just some type of extra talent on the side of Killer Kelly.
Yeah, because I do feel like they had a really competitive match. I have to admit, I really like this match a little bit more than what we got last week with the Sea Stars and Tasha and Kiera. I kind of like the dynamic a little bit more. And maybe like Josh mentioned this on commentary, you have two people on both sides that aren't traditional tag team partners. So there really wasn't an advantage throughout the match. Whereas in last week's match with Kiera and Tasha versus the Sea Stars, that's team versus team through and through. So maybe the expectations were set in a different manner. And really, though, I just really liked this team between Jordynne and Jazz. Yeah. You could really look at them they're both powerhouses. They're both very, very strong in their moveset. And Jazz just looked amazing. It was just kind of a clinic. But I don't feel like at any time it was a squash either. I feel like there was enough competition in there that made it look healthy. And that made everyone in the ring look strong. But ultimately, you knew again who was going to win with the team of Jordynne, Grace, and Jazz. And next week they're going to be up against Havoc and Nevaeh, and that's going to be like Jazz versus Havoc in a ring. Sold. I'm done.
What did we know it was going to be Jordynne and Jazz? Because for a minute, this could have went either way for me. And again, I just think that just shows you how good of a match this was.
Yeah, it was a good match, but you ain't bringing Jazz up for nothing, Now, I think next week that feels like more of a coin toss because you have an established team of Havoc and Nevaeh versus this newer team of Jazz and Jordynne Grace. That one to me could go either way. I mean, we could see an early exit of Jordynne and Jazz, or we could see them go all the way to the finals. I mean, who knows? But I'm very, very excited for this next round.
Yeah, hats off to the four of them. This is a good match. Hopefully Impact, keeps them locked in for a while. And whatever Jazz decides to do with her career, being in the ring or being in the locker room, anybody can utilize that talent, that tenure in any space. And she looked phenomenal. Better yet, she looks damn good.
She looked tough as it was really refreshing to see that display in the ring. And again, I mean, it makes sense with Jordynne. It obviously made sense. So I'm thrilled that we got to see this match, and it looks like we're gonna get. That's why I'm so excited about next week. If they work so well with two people that aren't really part of the roster, think about what kind of great work they're going to do next week versus Havoc and Nevaeh.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, I got an auntie that reminds me of Jazz. All I gotta say is Jazz, man. Yep. So, all right. Well, where are we going next for tonight? What else is on tap? What else you got?
Well, speaking of championships, Rohit Raju defended the X Division Championship against Crazy Steve, and this was another match too that surprised me on how good it was. Crazy Steve carried his own throughout the match. I was surprised too on his utilization of submissions, and especially at one point, this arm submission that he had that looked like really, painful, but that could win him the match. I was expecting it to be maybe something pretty quick, and Rohit, which he ultimately did, utilize his surroundings to get the win, but it was a really good match from Crazy Steve that we don't really get to see from him. And we also talked about this last week too. This is a kind of a surprise where Crazy Steve's been kind of more on the gimmicky side, more on the Wrestle House and comedy side, but to see and get reminded of his work in the ring, and what an excellent wrestler he could be. This was something very refreshing. But Rohit still being Rohit Raju, using the ropes to get the pin on Crazy Steve, and and still your X Division champion, Rohit Raju.
Well, look, two things here. Rohit Raju, since being the champion, has outshined everybody that he's had a one-on-one match with. Mm-hmm. Not even a question. Both gimmick and both just wrestling. He has continued to work at top tier level each and every match. Every one-on-one match. And I'm being clear because there's a triple threat. Obviously, I can make an argument about that. But every one-on-one match that he's had, he's outworked everybody, except for tonight. Crazy Steve, after the demise of Wrestle House, has truly shown why he signed back to Impact Wrestling and why they said we need this guy. There was rumors saying he was going to eventually. He had a trial and that he potentially may sign to WWE, and that didn't happen. And you have to take it with a grain of salt. They're taking a look at a person. They understand, they value the talent, and we've seen Crazy Steve been in some of the best feuds in the past, and having some of the best character work in the past.
Yeah.
And the wrestling has always been there. Then it went away for a while, injury and everything. Come back, and side back, it kind of was just another person on the roster. Well, again, he's making his money now, and I think that tonight is just another step forward in showing that he's just not a gimmick. The guy can legit wrestle. He's definitely deserves to be in really solid matches that give time instead of just gimmick matches all the time. Sure, I'm very, very, very sure he's happy doing the gimmick stuff because one, that keeps him healthy and he doesn't want another injury, and two, his character seems to be more of a reflection of self. So I think that he just has fun in doing it. So I think it doesn't matter which way it goes, but I think it's very clear, in case the fans wasn't sure, that he could wrestle. And tonight was the night. I would have popped if he would have won tonight, to be honest. It was that close. And Rohit doing what Rohit does, it was just like, okay, I'm not mad at that. Great match, fellas.
Yeah.
It worked. It worked for the two of them. So very impressive match. I mean, to be honest, that's 3 for 3 for matches I enjoyed tonight, and we still got a few more that we may cover. But like 3 for 3 for sure in matches that I was like, yeah, this is a super solid, good wrestling night on Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I absolutely agreed.
So, where are we going now?
Well, I mean, if we want to jump around a little bit, we did have a very interesting segment with Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly utilizing the help of Father James Mitchell to get rid of one undead bride, Su Yung. They approached him in the back and asked if, he'd done his magic to get rid of her. And he said that, just to be patient, but that he was working on it. So they went to the ring because they were just ready to get it done. So Deonna and Kimberly went out to the ring to call out Su Yung. She did appear, and soon enough, Father James Mitchell came as well, and he launched an army of undead brides, or the bridesmaids, to Su Yung. And eventually that was enough of the distraction that Deonna Purrazzo needed to attack Su Yung and ultimately laid her out in the middle of the ring. And the undead bridesmaids, well, they did what they did best and took her, unconscious, lifeless body, may we say, back to the depths of hell. I am not sure where she goes, but it does seem like for now, Su Yung is no longer a threat to Deonna Purrazzo. But if there's anything to know about Su Yung, is that she could come at any time, and hell has no fury like an undead bride. So I think that Deonna has some false reassurance now. And also there's this other stipulation of, Father James Mitchell will ask a request from Deonna at some point. He will want a favor back for what she did. And what he wants, well, that's going to be really interesting to see. But you could just never trust them. But again, the presentation of Su Yung is always just fascinating. The undead bridesmaids as well is just a super creepy element. I don't know if I like necessarily the whole knockout part with Deonna taking care of Su Yung so easily, but I also have a feeling that this is not the end.
This backfires. That's it. This absolutely backfires.
She just gets more pissed off.
Yeah,
you just pissed her off even more.
Yeah, that's all I got for that. This backfires, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. And I hope it's done at Hard to Kill. And I hope that we get the big presentry of Su Yung with all the razzle dazzle with it. So
all of it. That again, that entrance is one of my favorites in all of wrestling. The character, the addition of the bridesmaids, all of it is just my absolute favorite. I love it, and I can never get enough. Agreed.
Okay, just really quickly, I just want to go about the opening match for the night, and that's XXXL versus the heavy. I cannot talk.
Well, it's heavy. No guys are heavy.
Motor City Machine Gun. Look, quickly, all I want to talk about this is that XXXL has never been in a tag team picture in talks for us. And over the last couple of weeks, they have shown a change in aggression, a change of pace, a change of work ethic. And they had a hell of a match with one of the best tag teams in all of professional wrestling. With that being said, hats off to them and for everything they've been doing to be relevant in Impact Wrestling, talk, discussions, reviews, trending topics, everything. They literally are working on all cylinders here to state that, you're talking about all the buzz that's happening in Impact. Their name is nowhere to be found. Not in the tag team division, not in singles, not even some of the Wrestle House stuff. And they're working everywhere. And I definitely want to give their hats off to them in a very, very solid match and way to set the pace for the night for them. So definitely hats off to them. I can't wait to see where they continue to go, staying on this track.
Yeah.
And matter of fact,
I agree.
And matter of fact, just talking really quickly about aggression, I mean, the other thing was Johnny Swinger, you know, that's my guy, but Cody Deaner, who I believe it was you that said it, that at some point we were going to see a change in his attitude and his anger. And I guess I didn't think it was going to happen this way, but we seen slight aggression and more slight focus out of him, and even a good match out of nowhere. I forgot when it was, but recently, we'll just say. Well, who would have thought Eric Young would have been the one to really bring it into focus? I'm sorry. On to next week for me. I can't wait to see what happens there. This is a defining moment for who Cody Deaner is. Now, on the Indies, absolutely know the work ethic. Not even a question. Yeah. Impact, we've seen glimpses of it. You're dealing with Eric Young now. You got to bring your A game. I'm not just talking character. I'm talking about ring work. Yeah. And this potentially could be the match of next week of the night.
And I hope they give it the time. I hope it is not just a quick squash match. I hope they give it the time, because Impact, that is what they can be really known for, is giving time to people that we typically don't see. I mean, we were just talking about Crazy Steve and Rohit Raju having a really solid match. Who would have thought even 6 months ago that was a match that we'd be talking about in the quality of the performance? And so I hope they give it the time they need. Now, I feel like this is evolving into, I mean, you called it more of a faction type, and maybe, you know, by defeating Cody Deaner, he'll be recruited into this new faction. I don't know. I have a feeling, ever since you mentioned that, I feel like something deeper is happening here. And why not Cody Deaner? You know, what else are the Deaners doing? But sorry, I agree. Give them the time, and I could see them having a super aggressive brawling match. I mean, Eric Young is that character he's still playing is just completely off the wall, unhinged, and I love seeing that also project in the ring. And I really want to see a brawl out, because the promo too, you know, really, as far as the logic behind it, I didn't get. But the meaning, you know, and the tone and the inflection and the passion behind it, I didn't care what he said and if it made sense, because I really got behind him and that anger that he had. So I bring it to the ring. Bring it to the ring next week. I want to see this match. Give it the time, Impact, that it deserves. Don't just make it squash. Give it some time, because I feel like we'll, of course, always be impressed by Eric Young, but I think Cody will bring something to the table that, you know, we haven't seen, that I think would really showcase him in a awesome way.
I agree. Well said. Yeah. Well, anything else? I'm trying to think. Any other segments or anything we didn't mention?
I mean, we did see Ethan Page address his loss to Hornswoggle or Swoggle. I appreciated that. But then he did admit that he was the one that beat up the Big LG. So he admitted he was the one that attacked him. And so from there, we had a response from Carl Anderson that said, if you want to, well, you know, Ethan Page did call out Carl Anderson and said if he wanted to humiliate him, he'll have to do it in the ring himself. So we do see that setup happening for Final Resolution, which I think will be a great match. Am I completely drawn to it? Not really. I mean, I think, you know, I'm kind of a little done with that scene for right now. I'm looking for something a little bit new. But, you know, I think it'll be, again, another way to maybe prolong stories until we get to Hard to Kill, where we probably will see a rematch for the tag titles. But I did feel, I mean, again, Ethan Page, his promo work, his expressions, everything is some of the best out there. So I will watch an Ethan Page promo all day, but the story itself is not something that I'm gravitating to.
Yeah, Carl Anderson also mentioned that he had friends as well, if need be. So I'm not sure who he's really pointing towards and what it may be, but we'll see. Also, I want to say real quickly, Brian Myers, if he decides to get an S Division picture, well, consider me sold. So I don't know when or how or at what point, but consider me sold.
Well, it would be interesting because you have two dirty cheats in the same ring. How do you out cheat the other? If that's a whole match about them just trying to out cheat the other, I'm not gonna lie. I'll buy into that. Don't make it for the X Division title. Like, you don't have to hurt the X Division that way. But if we get some kind of a gimmicky match between Brian Myers and Rohit Raju trying to outmaneuver the other, I think that would be pretty funny, and I'd watch it.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else for tonight we need to discuss?
No, I mean, I think as we talked about, there was several really solid, great matches on tonight's show. There's a lot of story building towards Final Resolution and some matches. It seems like we'll get some more match announcements coming up soon for Final Resolution. Next week, we do have another Knockouts first round match for the Knockouts tag team titles with Taya and Rosemary versus Diana and Kimberly. So that itself is a very exciting match. Again, Taya and Diana in the same ring. Yes. I hope we get to that further down the line as well, because we need that program. We need that in 2021 Impact. But as you said too, they just done pissed off Su Yung, so God only knows what's going to happen there. But some, great setup for next week and for Final Resolution.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think that'll do it for tonight. I mean, I enjoyed tonight. It was a good wrestling show for sure. And much like Miranda said, the theme of tonight was bring it or take it to the ring, and that's what happened. We saw a good display of people letting the gimmick, letting the storylines all be told in the ring. So, and then next week it's already shaping up to be a really good week as well, with matches already being announced. And then again, we're 11 days away from Final Resolution, so looking like next week is going to be really, really, really interesting for Impact Wrestling. But where we will be, because each and every Tuesday we will have our review up and posted for you all on YouTube, and we'll be dropping at 10 p.m., which is after the conclusion of Impact on AXS TV. So, but as always, folks, chat with us in the comments. Let us know what you thought about tonight's show. What are your thoughts and predictions of storylines going forward? Because you all will be on the money with some of your suggestions, and I'm definitely always entertained by, and we're checking for sure. So definitely chime in down there with all your thoughts and predictions each and every week. Miranda, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, just thank you so much to everyone who views this. We love seeing your comments down below. So keep those suggestions, those thoughts, those ideas churning, because as Najir said, you guys have some really great insights and even some booking ideas you guys have. So we love to hear from you, and just thanks so much for tuning in.
That's right. All right, folks, we'll catch you next Tuesday. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody be safe, and we'll see you then. Thank you so much.